Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Phoenix and this is the Consumer's Guide to Filmmaking. The Substance. 2024. Coralie Fargit. This film follows a woman known by her stage name of Elizabeth Sparkle. Actress, fitness instructor, celebrity, Sparkle was and is the talk of the town. However, Sparkle is becoming more of a was than it is. Getting older, the higher-ups at the network want to replace her with someone younger on her fitness TV show. Not taking kindly to Father Time, Sparkle catches wind of an illegal de-aging treatment known simply as the Substance. Deciding to take fate into her own hands, Sparkle goes through with the treatment, which involves her body asexually reproducing a younger version of herself. This new, younger Sparkle, known as Sue, starts to defy the rules laid out by the creators of the Substance, and now Sue and Sparkle must fight over who gets to live. Oh Lord, I was in no way, shape, or form prepared for this one. What a fucking ride this film was. To start, I want to sing the praises of director Coralie Fargit. This woman has such a clear and unique voice, yet simultaneously revels in her influences. The most obvious of these influences is David Cronenberg. Not even knowing much about her before seeing this movie, writing this review, editing this video, the Cronenberg worship in this film is really obvious. It is a film that revels in body horror and takes this incredibly interesting sci-fi concept to grotesque extremes. But again, let us not forget that I think this woman has a unique voice as a filmmaker. She takes something right out of the Cronenberg playbook and makes it her own. This is readily apparent in the visual style of the film. Making heavy use of perspective and depth of field, Fargit crafts incredibly memorable sequences, with every scene containing a shot or two that is just absolutely unreal. Even from the opening sequence, a top-down shot of Sparkle's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, it visually primes us for the idea that Sparkle is becoming yesterday's news, an afterthought in the pop culture zeitgeist. Some of my favorite shots and sequences in this film involve the great Dennis Quaid. All of these close-up shots of his disgusting fucking body were given such a vicious, satirical bite in the editing room. Our introduction to him is in the bathroom, with the camera set up above a urinal, so we got a nice, close view of his face while he's pissing and insulting Sparkle, unknowing of the fact she is in the room. The entire restaurant sequence had me wanting to break his fucking neck. Like, oh my god, stop being a pig in front of the lady, please. Like, holy shit, every frame and every cut of this film is just marvelous, and I cannot get enough of it. Production design-wise, Fargit makes great use of her resources. The set design I want to single out because there are some clear and deliberate nods to The Shining in this film. The bathroom and hallway in the TV studio is quite reminiscent of the Overlook Hotel. Whether that's just because she likes Kubrick, or that choice is meant to show that the Dennis Quaid character is like an evil entity, I'm not sure. I'd have to ask her. Still cool, good taste, based. Oh yeah, the gore and monster effects in this film are fucking insane. I kind of don't want to spoil anything in regards to this, because this is a film that needs to be experienced in as much of a vacuum as possible. So all I will say is the effects are creative, well executed, and just fucking wild. The music is done by an electronic artist called Rafferty. This score is essentially a rave from hell. The score often revolves around these throbbing pulses of bass, building into skittering IDM beats and techno bass drops. The score will then devolve into industrial noise for the film's most chaotic moments. The score often accentuates the audio design, the throbs and pulses, amplifying the nasty-ass bodily noises that happen throughout the film. It is a score that perfectly fits the atmosphere of the film and also doubles as a great set of compositions. It's one of the rare scores I would happily listen to independent of the film. On to Fargit's script though, which is incredibly well done. While it isn't much of a complaint, the satirical elements of this film, especially in regards to the world, are simplistic. The particular arguments Fargit is making play out in a at times predictable manner, But the simplicity and very heavy-handed nature of the satire is part of the film's charm. One thing I noticed about the world of this film is that there is tons of anachronisms to it. Like, really, who the fuck still watches the sort of exercise programs that Sparkle or Sue were making? Like, outside of attracting those of the Gooner persuasion, who buys that crap? Who still gives a shit about Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve? Despite the modern setting, Farjeet relies on boomer forms of media to make her point, which doesn't end up bothering me. Like I said, things like that add to the charm. But what is this satire about? To me, it is clearly a comment on cultural beauty standards, especially for women. Look, man or woman, it doesn't matter. Everyone jobs to the wall.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. Oh, up there. That's on top of the hotel. That's about 15 stories in the air. Look at that. That's the wall. Maybe the wall will choke slam Hogan from the top of the hotel.
Say wall. If you want some, come get some.
You will never have that youthful vibrance forever. Your body will naturally degrade over time. But if you take care of yourself, that beauty will evolve and change into something that can still be elegant. Too bad Liz Sparkle didn't get the memo, and isn't willing to do business. In the world we've created, especially in the entertainment business, women are held to such unreasonable, unhealthy standards. But as much as our culture is to blame for what transpires in this film, Liz Sparkle is not squeaky clean in this situation. See, Liz thinks she can go over Father Time by using an extreme form of the plastic surgery that is all too common in our world. Using the substance and going into business for herself, the being that she produces, known as Sue, helps Liz defy time itself. Sue becomes a star, but Sue starts to think for herself, and she wants everything without having to rely on Liz. Let's just say it doesn't end well for both parties. But you may ask yourself, doesn't that make Sue the villain and Liz the victim? Wrong you are, I say, because the rules that Farjeet outlines for the substance play directly into the themes. Specifically, the following rule. Remember, you are one. Sue is not her own human being. Sue is Liz Sparkle. Sue is the worst parts of Liz made manifest. In bringing out those terrible parts of herself, Liz also manages to remind herself of her virtuous qualities, but sadly, Liz is too far gone. The vanity and ego of Sue, even after Sue has destroyed Liz's body, remains in Liz, but even Sue's beauty fades, and from her, something worse is born. The final shot is Liz dissolving into her Walk of Fame star and being wiped away by a street cleaner. The monster that comes from Sue ends up consuming Liz Sparkle, making sure the beautiful woman Liz was becomes merely a whisper in the annals of pop culture, fading from the public consciousness and becoming nothing but trivia. In our lead role, we have Demi Moore. A pretty big name for a role like this. Moore honestly gives a courageous performance in this film, as corny as a line like that is. The amount of wild shit she does in this movie, and the amount of makeup and prosthetics she is wearing, hell, the amount of skin she is willing to show. She must have been getting the bag, or she must have really liked Farjeet and the vision. Either way, she crushed it, showing some great emotion in this film. Also, she's still fucking hot. As Sue, we have Margaret Qualley, channeling the attitude and resentment that Demi Moore puts on and twisting that into her own character. Qualley breathes so much life into Sue, simultaneously owning her sexuality as well as showing egomania and desperation. She has so many standout moments in this film. This is especially so at the end, as she gets into some wild stuff there. Also, she's fucking hot as well. As I alluded to earlier, Dennis Quaid is in this film, and he is hilarious throughout, hamming it up like a god. His way of speaking and his mannerisms are so exaggerated. The restaurant scene in particular, where he's bloviating so much, and when he's called out, he immediately clams up and starts getting nervous. Just such a beautiful transition in demeanor. He draws immense heat from the audience, and I just wanted to fucking strangle him. Just a god tier heel. So yeah, Coralie Fargit, you crazy for this one. This is the sort of filmmaking that reminds me how cool movies can be. Fargit, with the substance, congeals all of her influences and ideas into something that can distinctly and confidently be called her own. Brilliantly made, brilliantly written, brilliantly performed, this film's just fucking badass and brilliant. Most likely, spoilers, my favorite film of 2024, and a possible lock for my top 10 of the 2020s. The substance needs to be seen without prior knowledge, as going in blind will allow you to experience one of the wildest rides I have been on in quite some time. Fuck yeah, watch this movie. You know what it is. 10 out of 10. Catch you later, guys.